You're good too? Okay. I've called the meeting to order. Roll call, myself, Jim Akabachi, clerk, acting chair this evening, in absence of our chair, Nazi. Nazi won't be here tonight. To my right, Troy Larson, to my left, Rick Semple, and Jake Morrison. Veronica, we're waiting to see if she shows up or not. Approval of minute, the first thing on the agenda this evening, meeting minutes from 10/12/2022. As usual, I did review them. And I'm okay with them if you guys don't have any objections.
Oh, I read through them. I agree.
You agreed. You saw there was a couple corrections that we made via
Yep, and they
email.
were made.
So all in favor of approving as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, they're signed. That's done. And Veronica is here. So now everyone's here. The gang's all here. This is just for you, but we're not at it yet. The first thing on the continued public hearings is 3022, the family pantry. They've put in a request for a continuance. I see no reason not to grant it. All in favor of granting a continuance, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Continuance granted. Until, what's that, November 9th, I believe. Okay, new public hearings. The first one up is going to be 32-22, Jane Rowan. Anybody here for Jane? We got to you real quick, didn't we?
We did, thank you.
Okay, are you going to continue or? I'm going to read it. You can sit down. I'm going to read it in and then you can identify yourself and have the floor for 10 or 15 seconds or 3 minutes if you need it. Okay, so I gotta get, I'm kind of dual duty it tonight, so 3220. So bear with me a little bit. I'm going to pass this around for signatures. This is something separate, if you don't mind. Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on October 26, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. in room 320 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571 to consider petition number 32-22 for a special permit and or variance from the requirements of Article 13, Section 1352 and Section 1353 under the Wareham zoning bylaws to June Rowan of 300 Sanatoga Road, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, Keith, say your name, Dimitrick, sorry, of West Wareham, Mass, proposing to remove an existing flat roof and construct a new roof with a pitch to match the front portion of the dwelling located at 6 Cohasset Road, Wareham, Mass. It appears on Assessors Map 52, Lot 31 in the MR30 zoning district. And I have some things to pass out. 1, 2, 3, 4, gentlemen. Thank you. Go ahead, identify yourself and tell us what you're doing.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Freifeis. I'm actually representing the Rawlings and on behalf of the Midford.
Wait a minute, hang on.
Mike's not on. You might have to press it off.
There's a green light. You got a green light? See if it's, go ahead, start again.
Good evening, everyone.
Can you hear him, Bob? Okay, thank you.
My name is Robert Reifeis. I'm actually the architect that helped the Rowans. I'm representing them this evening and I'm filling in for Keith Dimitrick, the general contractor who had initially put in the permit. Sorry to say, unfortunately, he passed away unexpectedly about 3 weeks ago.
You can't be here.
So we cannot be here. No. My understanding is that it is non-conforming due to the side setbacks. However, we believe that this variance seeks relief because we think that the new roof or the addition of the back roof over what is pretty much a flat roof that's had leaking issues over many, many years won't be detrimental to the character of the house, nor have any impacts on the neighbors. So,
if I heard what I read,
mhm,
you're not putting an addition on the house. You're taking a flat roof and making it a pitch roof.
correct, yes. I don't know.
You're not adding any more living space.
No more square footage.
You're
It's-
just simply putting a peaked roof on a non-conforming, pre-existing, non-conforming use.
That is correct.
Do we need to have a big discussion about this?
I read it through.
Okay. I'm gonna fast pace you if you don't mind.
By all means.
Any questions from the board?
I don't have any.
Anybody here in the room this evening or on Zoom that has any comments to make on this application? For or against? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the public portion of this hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the public portion of this hearing. All in favor, say aye.
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 Public portion of this hearing is closed. I would entertain a motion to approve and grant as requested.
I would second that.
You had said, I need somebody to move for it and then second, then you
Yeah, so moved.
moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Your application has been approved, sir. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you all very much and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. I'll take them back.
That was fast.
Took us longer to pass the paperwork out than it did to. Well, I mean, that was a no-brainer. Thank you. Thank you.
Goes back at you like you threw it to us, but I think.
Well,
Consider it my hand.
I have an answer for you. Will I get everything back from that?
Right here.
Right here. This is it. Thank you. I don't like to open up a new one until we put that one away because. Next victim. One, two, as long as it doesn't say planning copy. There you go. Thank you. Two, here's the next one. The zoning board of appeals will hold a public hearing on October 26, 2022 at 6:30 PM in room 320 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571 to consider petition number 34-22 for a variance from the requirements of Article 6 to Harold S. and Amy S. Wolfson, care of Anthony Frangidis of 22 William Street, New Bedford, Mass. 02740, proposing to construct an addition off the north side of the subject property located at 10 Admirals Way, Wareham, Mass. That appears on Assessors Map 2, Lot 79 in the Onset Village 1 zoning district. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Anthony Frangidis. I'm the architect representing the Wolfsons this evening. Hank and Amy are here in the event that you have questions for them. They own the property at 10 Admirals Way and have for the last 7 years and have incrementally been making improvements to the property. The current project that's before us this evening is for a variance from floor area ratio. The requirement in Onset Village is 25%, and we are at approximately 39.8%. The Wolfsons would like to better utilize the second floor of the existing structure. It currently has 2 bedrooms and no bathroom. And we're reconfiguring it so to the rear with a new gable roof dormer to allow for larger bedrooms and a bathroom on the second floor. The other, what's triggering the addition to the north is that the existing cottage has a narrow, steep stairwell, similar to many in Onset Village. We're eliminating that stairwell and putting in a code compliant interior staircase, which is what's triggering the addition to the north. And when we do that, we're also extending the porch. There's a photograph of the front elevation. So we're basically matching the elevations on the front of the house with the Victorian character and extending the covered porch with our addition. So our variance is for floor area ratio.
Are you increasing the footprint?
We are.
Okay.
So the proposed addition is 182 square feet, and then the proposed covered porch is 66 square feet.
Okay.
So, and we're also utilizing the entire second floor plate. So that's adding to our livable area. We're not changing the height of the structure. We're maintaining the ridge height.
You're using dormers.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The lot size is 3,900 square feet.
So you don't need any variances for setbacks. You don't need variances for building coverage, but you need a variance for floor area ratio. That's it, FAR, floor area ratio. And what's the square footage of one story?
The existing square footage is 1,000 square feet on the first floor, and we're adding 182 square feet. So on the first floor, so it's 1,182 on the first floor.
Okay. Does it show here where your FAR is there anything on these plans that shows the FAR before and after?
No, we have the FAR listed in the denial letter from our
Okay, that's what I can look at
sectional services.
from the building.
Building commissioner, yes, that, I
Building commissioner.
apologize. Yeah, I have the square footage on the floor plans listed.
I believe it just states the fact of the code and the zoning bylaws is what they're looking for, the variance for the FAR.
Okay. Okay, any questions from the board, starting with you, Troy?
Not at this time.
Veronica?
So a new bedroom is being added on the second floor?
Yes. So it'll be a 3-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms.
And you're 9 and 5, 13, almost 14% over the FAR. Any more, Veronica, are you all set?
Well, the only comment that I'd like to make to the applicant is that similar project come before us recently, and I have an issue with the FAR going over what's set. And the reason for that is, especially in places like onset, OV1 and OV2, the ability to create a second dwelling unit is by right. So as soon as we go over that FAR, if you have enough floor area to do that, or living space, you could do that in any kind of, modification without having to come before us or have anyone's approval, really. So, in this situation like this, where that's, it's not currently non-conforming, I see the hardship in that it's a small place, you want to try and have room for the family. However, I think that if the applicant were willing to limit it to a single-family dwelling, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Could you talk to your client about a deed
I don't-
restriction?
I don't think there would be any objection to that. We've never talked about making it a 2-family or
I
a
see- I
rental.
see- I
This is
see.
barely big enough for
I see their
Hank
heads
and Amy
bobbling in
and
the
their
back of the room,
family,
so
This is, there's no intent to.
would you, before you answer us, would you mind coming up to the microphone so that, because somebody's going to hear a voice on a recording and they're going to try to make minutes for us, and state your name and,
Sure. First name is Harold, last name Wolfson.
Okay.
I'm the owner.
the property?
You're the property owner. So what Mrs. Debonese is suggesting is that we put a deed restriction on your property that would mean it could not be turned into a two-family home. How do you feel about that?
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Perfectly fine with that, okay. That's what I wanted in the record, okay, because that may be, if we vote in the affirmative, it's probably gonna be part of the conditions.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Rick, I'll jump over to you. Any questions?
None at this time.
Jacob?
No questions. I think this is a pretty, I think they're trying to make the house a little bit better by putting a safer stairwell in. So I think it is something that should be done to this property, and I'm for this project.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody in the room this evening that would like to either speak for or against this application? How about on Zoom? Nothing. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, ma'am?
Not at this time, thank you.
You've put your best foot, you've put your case forward, you've heard the tone of the board. What do you think about closing the public portion of this one as well?
So moved.
So moved, do I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that the public portion of this hearing be closed. All in favor, say aye.
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 No more comment from anybody other than the board and their vote. Does anybody want to make a motion in either to grant or to deny?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented with the condition that that's a deed restriction on the
Okay, so the motion's made that you grant the application, we grant the variance as requested with standard conditions and the additional condition that a deed restriction recorded at the registry says that the house can never be converted into a two-family or a multifamily. Do I have a second on that? Yep.
I second.
By Richard Simple. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? It passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you. And we're doing it a little different on the decisions lately. What we're doing is we're making our decision, we're giving Sonia a chance to type it all up pretty, and that's gonna come at the next meeting, and we'll sign it.
Sign it after.
If you need to get it in, if we need to get it on record quicker, either I or Nazi go by and sign it, just so that she can file with the clerk, and then we do, that's why I just passed something around earlier that, I don't know. I passed something around that, I said,
Veronica's still reading it.
where'd it go? I said, there you go. That's,
It's not as quick as you.
that's one that we're signing that we don't even need to put on the,
This one is the comprehensive. plan, right?
Oh, sorry.
No, Jim,
Jim, you don't have to get up. I got you.
that stays with you.
All right.
That's all right, it's good for me to get up. Now I can say I did sit-ups today, see?
Work off that birthday cake.
I gotta work out, exactly. I got my exercise for the day. Okay, 2 down. So we're done with Rowan, we're done with Wolfson. We're done, yes. Yes, I need to make my notes unanimous. 500. 3522 Nazi Biacalazzi, I'll be reading that one in now. Is there anybody here for Naz? Might as well come get comfortable while I'm reading. Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on October 26, 2022 at 6:30 PM in room 320 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 35-22 for a variance, special permit, or 2 special permits, and site plan review from the requirements of Article 6, Table 622, Article 3, Table 321, and Article 15, Section 1520, to Nazi B. El Khalasi, care of Brian Grady, RS of GAF Engineering, Inc. of 266 Main Street, Wareham, Mass., proposing to raise an existing single-family dwelling in order to construct a new 9-unit attached townhouse building located at 434 Main Street, Wareham, Mass., Assessors Map 61, Lot 1057, in the Wareham Village 2 zoning district. Before I set you loose, Brian, I think I read 9-unit, but I think it's 9 units and an office, isn't it, that he's...
It's not really an office, it's a mechanical
Okay,
room, and there may be some landscaping equipment and a desk in there. It's not a formal office.
okay. Okay. I guess it's fine the way it's read into the record, and everybody has a copy of this already from earlier, so now I will set you loose.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brian Grady with GAF Engineering. For this project, first off, I'll start with, I did speak with Charlie late this afternoon. He did email us his review, which you have, but I don't know if there was a problem with our email. I have not seen it. So he did forward it again today, so I cannot speak to that. So I guess what I'll do is I will give a brief introduction to the project, see if there are any immediate questions, comments that I can respond to, and then just
No, we can go
request
through,
a
we can go
continuance.
through his response line by line or item by item after you've had a chance to do it yourself.
Yes, sir, that's, would
So we're
be,
gonna continue, and we're gonna deal with,
yes, sir. So I'll give you a brief introduction. One of Charlie's questions was about the architecturals that were in your package. We don't have a full architectural plan reflecting the 9 townhomes. That will be done once we have a project. Obviously, preparing full architectural plans are expensive, so we will prepare those once we have a project. But what I do have is something similar. What was submitted was the duplex plans that are under construction, and it's the same unit, there's just going to be 9 of them. But this is,
all in one building, though, the way it's presented.
they'll be attached, correct. But this is a rendering for a 5-unit, so it gives you a little better idea. I can pass those around.
Let them share one, and let these guys share one, and I'll...
That's a 5-unit representation.
Okay. So it's one long building with 9 units in it.
Correct.
Okay.
So, yeah, we are here for a couple of reasons in response to a letter from the building commissioner, who was Dave Moore at the time, who did a review on the project, that we need site plan review, variance, special permit. Project's located in the Wareham Village 2 district. And a couple of things. We exceed the building coverage. Let me see, go through his letter here. And an existing structure of more than 5 units requires a special permit. And the new structure will need more than 10 parking spaces, which triggers the site plan review. Now, I know Dave Requena was involved in the early iterations of this project, but then he left and Mr. Moore came on as the interim commissioner, which is when things got formalized. I don't know if they had any communications prior to Mr. Requena leaving, but this is what we're left with. So that's a rendering of a 5-unit. As I said, we're going with a 9-unit townhome on this lot. As you can see from those architecturals, each unit will have a single-bay garage, and we will have 1 parking space in front of the garage door. We're showing a circular traffic pattern. There will be 2 entrances, ingress and egress at each driveway entrance. Couple of things. Well, one thing that's unusual that I'll point out is that we are showing a landscape easement in the back. Now, I believe you're familiar with the property. In the back, there are currently duplexes under construction on High Street. So this easement that we're showing would be on the back of those duplex lots. So it would be a landscape easement, and it would be restricted, that there be no impervious coverage or anything of that nature. It'd just be pervious and landscaping, and could be used by the tenants of this townhome development. But in effect, that helps us with our building coverage. Although it's not part of the lot, we're restricting it for that event, which brings us, I could provide you with the calculations later, but it brings the impervious coverage down below, just below 50%, but we would still exceed the building coverage, so I can provide those numbers to you.
Can I stop you right there? for a
Sure.
second? Because I'm not clear on the easement, where it is, what duplexes you're talking about.
It's not shown on that plan, I don't
It's
believe.
not shown on this plan. This is 434 Main Street. The existing structure sits in this location. That's where the existing building is.
Yeah.
Behind us, this lot also has frontage on High Street. Well, not this lot, but this was part of a
There
large...
was a
prop-
lot that's been separated off.
Yes, there's currently 3 duplexes under construction back here, which would be High Street. So the back of those lots, we would put an easement on that, a restrictive easement.
So
So
only landscaping could be put there.
I had a big I was as confused as you when I first heard this, so I asked a lot of questions. So he took the whole parcel that was originally bought, and he divided it into 2 pieces, one on High Street, one on Main Street.
It's not 4?
It's 3 lots and then this
Okay,
lot, yeah.
I'll get to the 4. So if you divide it in half, front to back, one on High Street, one on Main Street, then he went around back and he took the part on High Street and he divided that into 3 lots and put 3 duplexes. Those are done. And they conform, they fit. They got the square footage they need, they got everything they need. Now he's coming around to Main Street and he's got this remaining parcel where this proposed 9 units is gonna go. Everything, if I get this correctly, and I'm going by memory partially, and everything fits setback-wise, et cetera, except the lot area is somewhat lacking. And what he's done is he's taken an easement onto those houses in the back to make more land for these 9 units in the form of an easement.
There'll be a landscape utility easement, and there will be restrictions, no impervious surfaces, things like that.
So the way it's gonna end up getting landscaped, it's gonna look like these units have a bigger yard than they actually do. They're gonna actually use a bigger yard than they actually own.
Okay, can I stop right there?
Yeah.
So... Oh, sorry. What lot does the easement belong to? This lot or the one with the duplexes?
The easement would benefit this lot, yes.
No, what lot does it belong to?
The
Or is it a completely separate lot in its own right?
No, the 3 lots in the back are granting easement to the 1 lot in the front.
Okay, so that is,
That's,
The easement is on the duplex lots, but it would benefit this project, the townhome project.
the 3 lots on High Street are granting an easement to the 1 lot on Main Street.
okay, this is not a setback easement, it's just an easement for growth.
Well, it would give the townhome project more of a backyard. The tenants of the townhome project would be able to use it as if it's their yard, but it would be restricted for no impervious areas to help us with our building coverage and our impervious area coverage.
Okay, thank you.
So any building setbacks still apply because it's a lot line, but it's just a restrictive easement. But since I mentioned lot line, this lot does not exist yet. This is a proposed lot, and the reason for that is we did the A&R plan, we created the 3 lots on High Street, and we had to put the property lines around the existing home, 434. So once that is raised, we can then modify the property lines. We can't change the property lines because there'd be a nonconformity with the setback to the existing structure. So until that dwelling is raised, we can't modify the property lines because there would be a zoning nonconformity.
You'd have a house in the middle, on the line. The existing structure would be either
It would be nonconforming to the setbacks, so.
setbacks.
So
Okay,
that's
it's
why
not on
we,
the line, but it's,
right.
Okay.
So if this project moves forward, gets approved, the house will be demoed. We do have approval from the Historic Commission to demo the house, so we do have that in place. But until it's actually demoed, we can't modify the property line because we wouldn't meet setbacks. So we can't present a plan to the planning board that has a zoning nonconformity to the setback. So this is a proposed lot, so that would be the plan. Once this gets approved, the project moves forward, the house would be demoed, then we could modify the property lines and create the easements and do all that, so.
so, I'm not interrupting you, Veronica, but I'm listening and I've read Charlie's response that we're gonna talk about later, and I've looked at this plan. I think it's gonna be appropriate, and you might wanna talk to your client. I'm not opposed to the easement. I'm not suggesting we should oppose the easement, but I do think that easement should be recorded at the registry and irrevocable, so that 3 years, 30 years, or 99 years from now, the properties don't get sold and the easement's lifted. I don't know how to address that. I don't know the legalities of it, but I'm just putting it out there right now because I think that ought to be considered and in writing. You know, how, I don't know how, but it's an easement, I get it.
Yep.
In essence, these units are gonna benefit the use of the backyard of the houses that are on lots that are actually bigger than typical for the High Street, so. And I understand the landscaping plan is, I saw all those rocks out there, so I had to ask. The plan is to use all those rocks from the raising of the barns to make a wall and,
Yeah, they could be used for a small wall.
they may, yeah,
Right.
so,
Yeah, I would, council's not here tonight, but we do need to
We
get
need- yeah,
council
need-
involved
I'm
with
not saying you're
drafting
gonna
of
give
the
me, I'm
easements.
just giving you the heads up that we
Yep.
need to address that.
Yep.
Veronica, you still got questions or more?
About that easement, so why not make that property, why was it divided like it was? So those are, it sounds like he's got duplexes, he's got 3 of them, so it sounds to me like it's 1, 2, 3 lots, if there are 4 altogether, and then the front one. Why were those lots made the size they are if they don't need the area? Why wasn't it made part of this lot?
Those 3 lots need that area to conform to the lot size.
So it would be each of those lots would need on their deeds to have an easement.
Yes, the 3 lots, each one would be encumbered by a portion of the easement, correct?
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
So,
so,
you know, if there are more questions, comments,
I'm not done, yeah.
okay.
Rick,
Nothing at this time.
Jacob?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. I've talked with Mr. Alcalasi about this project, and this is kind of a nice-looking structure, that's 5, but when you take that and make it 9, that's a pretty massive structure, and it's kind of pretty, but we've talked about maybe instead of having 9 units, having 8 units. I don't know if "we" is the right word, but I'm putting it out there that I think that instead of one big building with 9 units, and I think Mr. Alcolasi might be receptive to this, we have 4 buildings with 2 units in each building, and we don't need that 9th unit. Give up a unit, give us 4 duplexes, give us the same look, but that's more in keeping with the village. In my opinion, yeah, he's losing a unit, but it's gonna be a lot nicer looking. May not even need to put sprinklers in at that point. I don't know. I don't know code. What that's all about. Everything else, you know, I just think a 9-unit building right there is,
I personally think an 8 or 9 units kind of huge regardless. Anyway, I think if you take one away, it's huge regardless. I think that's asking for a lot of building on that lot. Definitely.
it's kind of,
It's a lot.
it fits the zoning, it fits the square foot, it's all that.
Yeah, for something like this, I would be more, something like this, that's gonna be duplexes, maybe, go more with the code instead. It's not like someone coming in here with a small home, trying to do a little tiny addition. This is all to get more units to make more money. That's how it works. Just in
yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, no, so you're kind of like, with me, instead of having one 9-unit building, 4 2-unit buildings with some space between them.
I think that's too much. I think they should, whatever fits. And then that's what should be, you know, it's not, the person here is making money off these buildings and a lot of it. It's not someone coming in here asking for, you know, to modify their house so they can fit their grandmother in there. This is to make a lot of money, so it should go by code.
Well, it is by code, I think. Am I wrong?
So they don't have to come in here.
Is 9 units by right, or?
It meets the density requirements for the units, but we exceed building coverage and impervious coverage. But it meets the density.
So how does my suggestion affect that?
Well, it would certainly help with the coverages. I'd need to see what
Okay.
the numbers
Well,
turn
again,
out to.
it's just my first blush. I just, you know,
I guess I do have a question, or not a question, just a fact. Everything in that area, I mean, I did read Charlie's note, and he does, all the lots in there go front to back, and all of a sudden, now you're just putting this wall of buildings, which is kind of,
looks like something that you'd see in the old,
I don't know if I
when that-
want to
when-
hit a ball over it. It looks more like the Green Monster in Fenway Park, because they couldn't put any seats in there. And now
They
they
used
put
to
them on
make
top. But I'm just saying. it's
row
just
housing and
It's
the
taken
fact
away from the Wareham Village look.
I think that's the way I feel too, you know, so. Any other comments from the board?
I'm in agreement with what's being said, and I don't know, I guess,
And I think we also covered that we can't create our own hardship for these things.
Anybody here from the public that wants to speak tonight?
Yeah, I would like to.
Come on up, state your name.
My name's John Keating. I'm a neighbor on both sides of this project, so I own at 18 Highland Road and 259 High Street. 6 doors down on one side, 6 doors down from the other. I'm opposed
Your
to
High
take-
Street or Main Street?
I own 259 High Street, and I own 18 Highland Road. Both properties are 6 houses away from this project.
Okay.
I'm opposed to tearing the building down. That's an old building, it's in good shape, I know it has a saggy porch, but that's a beautiful building. And what we're saying here is that we can go in, tear down a nice old house, it was built in the 1800s, and put up apartment projects. I don't agree with that at all. I'm totally against that. Also, I know we're going for a variance here. I'd like to see the 4 elements of the variance looked at.
The
I don't see where
whatever-
this is a unique property. Anybody in Wareham Village with a nice old house and a good-sized lot can tear it down and build an apartment building? I mean, that's what you're opening the door for.
Well, it's by right. Yes, anybody can.
Yes, anybody can
Yes.
do that.
All right. It seems like it's not by right if it's in front of this board. It doesn't
Well,
have
the
enough
variance
land.
and the special permit have nothing to do with the building that's there, that's been approved to be removed by the Historical Society. That's what was stated at the beginning of the meeting. So
Okay?
that doesn't
I
have
wasn't
anything to
aware
do
of
with what we
that.
decide on.
I wasn't aware of that. But I don't see that this is unique. I mean, there are a lot of buildings in Wareham Village that I guess are gonna be lining up to tear their buildings down, old houses, nice, that's part of Wareham. This is a nice house. I don't see where the hardship is in this. I don't see where it's unique. I don't see where it's good for Wareham. I think it's an overuse of land, so I don't see where it's meeting the zoning board requirements. I don't see how it can go through.
Okay, thank you.
My piece.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you. Anybody else? Yep, come on up.
Good evening. Russell Nato. I'm here to observe and possibly ask to join the board. And, but I just noticed this project while I'm here, and I'm just curious as to, you know, if I were on the board, I would say, how is this not a detriment to this neighborhood? Because the amount of units that are going to be put in there compared to what is there now certainly is, you know, astronomical compared to what we're used to seeing in the village. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to any development. I'm a builder myself. But this seems a little excessive. And even if you break it into, you know, duplexes, it's only one unit difference. I mean, you still have parking, you still have all the impervious materials, you know, things like that. And I would ask this because I was before this board before with a project that was similar, but it was in strip commercial zoning. I had 2 duplexes added to an existing duplex lot, and it was, everything met, everything conformed, except that it was a detriment to the neighborhood. So I settled for 1 duplex.
I remember
instead of
your
2.
application, I'm not sure, my memory and yours may differ.
The old Glen Charlie Road.
I remember the project, but I don't think it was the detriment to the neighborhood. I thought it was the square footage.
Whether it was by right, yeah. It was that, it wasn't because.
The zoning requirements there, the number are different than they are here.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
was
different
strip
zone.
commercial, so everything by right checked out. I studied it for a long time. It was just a detriment because I was going to put 2 duplexes in the back of an existing duplex in a residential area, even though it was zone commercial. So, in this case, I know that the zoning's different than commercial, but I mean, 9 units is certainly much different than, you know, I agree with the neighbor. I think that, you know, a large building like that is not what we're looking for in redevelopment of the downtown district.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Anybody else? Any other questions from the board?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Is this rental or condos? What's the intent?
Give Mike some.
Keep shutting it off so my papers don't make a bunch of noise, but, is this going to be, what's the ownership going to be? Is this going to be condominiumized
Yes.
or rental? It's kind of, okay.
That might be rental. That's, I'll have to confirm that with you.
Don't know.
Okay. I would like to just make the comment, because we are, you know, obviously there's a housing shortage. So I've lived in Wareham all my life. I know what the town looks like. I think that we need to see some changes to the center being an area where, you know, having more housing units is, we're not going to keep seeing those single large homes that are sitting there on big lots. It's just not the way it goes when the population increases and we have a need for housing. So, but that being said, I hear what the neighbors are saying, and I think this board's in agreement that some changes need to be made to this, and I don't know that a special permit or a variance, well, the variance, at least in my mind, doesn't seem like it's gonna fly, but.
So we got 3 things that this applicant, or this board has to decide on. We don't even have to decide the rules. The site plan review is automatic. We don't decide, we just do a site plan review. So that takes 3 down to 2. The other unit is a special permit, is the raising of the building. We have to say yes to the raising of the building. He needs a special permit for that. And then the third thing is the building coverage. So really, what we've got to discuss is the building coverage, the amount of building on the lot.
I believe there is something else other than that. Let's see.
Building
are two
coverage
special
requires a
permits.
variance,
In a 5+, if there's more than 5 units, you also need a special permit.
correct.
Yep, so
That's
it's
right.
a special permit for the 5+, for the raising of the building is also a special permit, and then there's a request for a variance. So I think there are 3 things here, is that right, Brian?
That's what's before you, but there's discussion that the project may change. So I don't know if you want to have that discussion tonight with the project possibly changing.
Right,
I
okay.
think we should have the discussion when, you decide if the project's gonna change, then, we got Charlie's letter to go through. We got some some comments that were made. I saw you writing notes. I don't think we're here to mitigate or negotiate this evening. We got it open.
I would like to make a comment, though, about the special permit and being a detriment and the look of it. I think some landscaping, we want to see some of that on here. I know I do, to get this to look, doesn't look,
Site plan requires a landscape design.
I mean, the houses that are on the other road, the other duplexes, I think look absolutely terrible that are getting built right now. So, I mean, is that what these are gonna look like? That's just my opinion.
yeah, I think we need to have some room for some land to remain if it's like this, I don't know if, the project could go up and get the units that are being sought, because it's just a long, short for the area. If it went up, maybe that could change some things, but
Anything else?
I believe we're continuing it, right?
We need somebody to make that motion.
I'll make a motion to continue.
Do I have a second?
second,
Motion's been made and seconded to continue this to November 9, I believe is the next meeting.
Yes, I believe that's right.
Okay. All in favor?
aye.
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 Opposed? You're continued.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, and you're going to come back with response to Charlie's letter and maybe a different...
Yes, I'll have a
The
discussion
project may have changed
with
between
the
now and then.
applicant and see which direction we go. Thank you.
Thank you. That's public hearings. Any other business? Continue. I don't see any other business. I don't hear anybody yelling and screaming, other business. We still have this gentleman here. Any questions of our applicant from the board? You want to come up and kind of reintroduce yourself? And why you want to get on the board, or why you.
Yeah, Russell Motto. I've lived in the town for about 20 years. I was on the planning board, and then I moved away. I sold my house that I built in Onset, for various reasons, and moved to an apartment in Lakeville for about a year, so I had to resign from the board. I stayed for the 1-year lease, came back, live at 30 12th Street in Onset, and, it's a way for me to get involved in the community. Time's passing quickly, and I want to contribute, and most of my background has been in real estate, building, excavation. I started off landscaping in '98, where I lived at Old Glen Charlie Road, and I lived there for about 18 years before I moved. And so I have a real estate broker's license. I studied real estate law in law school. I'm not an attorney and currently, but I do have a vast knowledge of it, and I like real estate, and I'm currently a builder. I have a few projects. I have 3 projects coming up in Wareham sometime in the next year or so. I'm doing 2 projects in Mattapoisett, and this seems like a good fit for me to contribute. So that's why I'm seeing if there is space, and when there's space, that I'd like to see if it's the right fit for you guys.
I think we do have space, right?
We have, yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. You were on the planning board before.
Yes.
So do you find yourself more interested in being on the zoning board or the planning board, or is it just like the way it works is we're a 7-member board, 5 voting members, 2 alternates.
Yeah.
Once any of the members are missing, then the alternate steps in. We let our alternates speak and talk just as if they were a full voting member, and the only thing is that when like this evening, Nazi's thing was opened, everybody was here.
Yeah.
So anybody can participate, anybody can vote. If Veronica weren't here, is it Troy? Troy, you're the alternate right now, right?
Yep.
Troy could vote, or could, if she didn't show up, doesn't matter, Troy's here. But if Troy wasn't here tonight, he couldn't. They have the Mullen Rule, but the Mullen Rule requires you to be at the first, when it's open.
Okay.
After that, a person can review the minutes, review the videos, et cetera, et cetera. So we're a 5-member board with 2 alternates.
Okay.
Of course, the idea is that the alternate sits and gets a feel for what's going on, you know, how this all works.
Yeah.
In your instance, probably you have a little more experience, so you'd come up to speed a little quicker than some may, you know.
I
But
think
that,
it'd be great for the board.
that's the way it works. And,
Thank you.
pardon me, you think it would be,
I think he'd be great for the board. I've seen him around town. He's a hard worker and
there you go.
need.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Any questions? Thanks for coming in. You're gonna come to the next couple of meetings, I guess? And, in the
Is it every other
meantime,
Wednesday? Is that how it works?
it's the second
Second and fourth.
and fourth meeting, it's the second and fourth Wednesday
Okay.
each month.
Once in a while, there's 5 weeks, so.
Once in a while, there's 5 weeks, so you.
May and this one, I know.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay, that sounds
Just-
good.
Just remember the second and fourth, it's about the
The-
easiest way to do it.
the
All right.
selectmen, at some point, you're gonna say, hey, you know, I put an application in, the selectmen are gonna be over there sleeping, and somebody's gonna grab them and shake them, and they're gonna throw the hot potato back at us, and they're gonna say, well, we're looking for a recommendation from the board.
Yeah.
And, but the selectmen appoint you, not us. And so, but they do ask for our input. So you come to 2 or 3 meetings, like tonight we spoke to you.
Yep.
You'll be here at the next meeting, you'll be at the meeting. By then, if the selectmen haven't taken an action, somebody will call Sonia or Ken and say, hey, get this in front of the selectmen. Then they'll call you into their meeting, and
Yep.
maybe they'll ask you questions, maybe they'll just say, you're on, I can't tell you what they'll do. That's the way it
I
goes.
believe they'll
Okay.
kick that back to us and ask us for a vote.
That's what they did with Troy. They threw Troy back and forth at us. There was so much indecision. Everybody wanted the guy on the board. The selectmen wanted him to join, we wanted him to join. But the procedure seems to have changed in the last few months, which all intentioned for the better, so you might feel a little, get bounced around a little bit, but
That's normal.
Oh, things take
Don't worry
time, I
about it.
know.
that's the way, that's the way town government works.
Yep.
Thanks for coming in
All right,
tonight.
thanks for having me.
We'll see you at our next meeting.
Good to meet you.
Take care.
I still need a motion, huh?
I have a question.
Oh, I have a question before we get a motion.
Yes. I'm looking at the decision deadline for Dos Amigos, the first one listed there. It says the variance deadline is 10/29. Today's 10/26. Why hasn't that been updated? They've requested a continuance several times.
Dos Amigos. Which one is that? What's Dos Amigos?
Number. But I know, but they've keep continually requesting a
They
continuation.
weren't on tonight, were they? No.
No.
No, they're scheduled for
Didn't
November
we,
9th.
didn't we vote on Dos Amigos?
No, we've given them
They pulled
continuances.
back and they asked for continuances, right?
What's this Dos Amigos? Get me up to,
This is,
2622.
Let's
Is-
just put it in the record that I think that Veronica's right. Their time is running out.
Well, there's a couple things that say Dos Amigos. That's why I want to make sure we're not,
One's a subdivision, Jim, on Squirrel Island Road. I don't think it's that one.
One's a subdivision on Squirrel Island Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one's
that's
somewhat
planning
new,
board.
right?
Okay, I don't even think that's come in front of us yet.
It wouldn't.
Okay,
So if their
Good,
time's
just-
running out,
but there's
they
two things that
automatically
have
get it
come in front
passed,
of
right?
us.
Yeah.
They automatically get it passed if it's not handled, so why?
No, they don't automatically get a pass. It's not an automatic, they can petition for constructive, whatever, but,
Right, so,
but if they,
so we've had this discussion in the past, when somebody requests a continuance, we've said they have to go and sign a document that our decision can also be continued, because now, and I don't know if Sonia just didn't update this and that's been done, it's been filed in the clerk's office that they're asking for a continuance, but without that document, they can file for a constructive grant.
I understand. But I'm still of the opinion that we voted on this, and it may just be still hanging on here.
I don't think so.
What did we vote on last meeting? Do you remember?
A continuance to my memory, but
What did we,
we talked about, I remember November 9th, right, was discussed.
what did we, let's see, we just approved those minutes. Settlers Glen,
So Dos Amigos, we continued it, we all voted unanimously on the last meeting. And
Oh,
they
yeah, I have that.
requested for
Yeah, they
continuance.
requested a
Till
continuance
tonight.
last one.
This is last,
is that the solar? No, that's not the,
No,
this is
No, it's Larch Street?
This is the last one from last
Yeah.
meeting.
Larch.
yeah.
And there's the continuance right there, and we approved the.
Latch Street. What the heck is going on? 12 Latch Street.
I don't even remember talking to anybody, I thought, I don't think anybody showed up yet. Quite honestly, I don't think we've talked to anybody.
Well, that's my point. I don't think that they, yeah.
I mean, I don't remember talking, I remember, oh no, I think the chairman, the chairman was not gonna participate in,
Yeah, didn't he recuse himself?
he recused himself. So I guess they were in the first time, but we haven't seen him since.
And I'm just drawing a blank on what's going on over on Latch Street. I wish I could remember what the project was by the address.
We, what's the number? 626.
Where is that in town?
Larch Street.
All of a sudden, it's
For a
gonna,
three-bedroom dwelling?
what was it, a three-bedroom?
Yeah, variance for proposed three-bedroom dwelling on pier foundation at 12 Larch Street.
Is that
Oh,
in
this is the
Packwood?
one, is this the one on the water where it had like March and there was like all those, what happened with that? The little lots, right? The ones, it's in a, it's Park, did you? say-
Parkwood
Is- is-
Beach.
Parkwood,
Yeah,
right?
we denied it.
Was it Parkwood? No, it's not Parkwood, sorry. It's,
It says Parkwood Beach on it.
is that what it is?
Yeah. See.
Oh, yeah, it was the corner
R30
lot that was
district.
really tight. They
On
said
the
it was a
water over
wooded
iconic
road,
Parkwood
wasn't
Beach.
kept up. They had a
Yeah.
boat on it. There
That's
was-
Larch Street?
Yeah, isn't that, because they're all named the
Yeah.
trees in Parkwood.
Yeah.
They're all trees, and it was that one little corner lot.
Right, I remember now you're saying it, I do remember. I thought this
There
was the
was-
one down,
They had a boat, there was some issues about how much room there was, and a few other things, but I don't believe that we voted on anything there. I mean, we had concerns.
I
I'm ju-
didn't think we voted. I don't remember voting.
But was it, it wasn't continued to tonight because they're not on tonight?
No, November 9th, it was continued till. We're gonna be past the deadline, so hopefully,
Well, we,
Last week it was continued to November 9th.
it's been more than one continuance to my memory.
They were here once, and there's been three meetings after
When
since.
was this? Let me see if I can find a date.
It says 8/12.
July 6th.
So I guess at this point, let's just hope, I don't know, November 9th happens?
Is Ken or Sonia available?
Yeah, what are
Ken,
we doing
Ken would
this
maybe?
nobody's online from, no, okay.
So I guess,
I don't think we've put ourselves in a position where they get a prescriptive. No, I think, Nazi's been pretty good about it, and Veronica's been a little bit of a watchdog on it. When anybody asks for a continuance, we always say, and you're continuing, and you're also simultaneously continuing the time for us to make a decision. We have done that.
But that has to be documented.
Yeah, we have done that, and usually they write it up.
Is there anything that we should say tonight to enter in?
The only thing I'd want to put into the record is that we want to check with the planning office, back to Sonia, and make sure that that has been done before the 29th.
In just Friday, Saturday, so it has to
Saturday.
be done tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Thursday,
Because they're closed on Friday.
yeah.
So
Huh?
I will call Sonia tomorrow.
This building
We don't have to file here, otherwise I could just look in the file. Tell you the answer, so I don't want to say, I believe we covered ourselves.
Is the town hall closed on Friday still?
Oh, yeah.
Town hall's closed on Friday. They work,
Back up.
4 10-hour days instead of 5
I'd
8-hour
rather
days.
do that and have an extra day off. 4 days.
Is everything turned back into me? No, we haven't closed our meeting yet.
Here, I'm ready to put my jacket on.
Pardon me?
I'm ready to put my jacket
Make a
on.
motion to
She's
close.
running out the door.
I'd be happy to hear that motion.
Motion to close.
Well, I just want to make sure that we shouldn't state anything tonight about that Dos Amigos.
We
I don't
just
know if
did.
they're,
We're gonna talk to Sonia tomorrow.
All
and
right.
Make sure that the continuance was subject to us having more time to vote, that they don't get an automatic okey-dokey just by not showing up.
I second the closure of the public meeting.
So it's been moved and seconded that the meeting is adjourned. All in favor, say aye.
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 Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, Bob.